My account has not been hit with enough CGVs, and something tells me that that's a problem. Rather than making assumptions as to why, I'm going to give information that I know I need to give out and quickly. You need to learn what a crow network is. Crows trade information by small bits. They tell everybody about something beneficial, they warn everybody about something that doesn't work, they warn everybody about threats. You don't hold information, you share it as much as possible to everyone. You're just taking this opportunity to put your butt in the camera, ain't you, child? Dalu, I'm watching you. You also need to learn how pigeon networks work. Those are not the same as crow networks. You leave things wherever you can put them that they won't be taken, but you can still direct people to. This is a collie stick. If I were to just store this somewhere around my city, somewhere around my neighborhood, and not having to get jumped out in the street, well, I can probably use this to change somebody's day real fast. But I don't want to be carrying it around with me all the time. Well, your pigeon network, as long as you all communicate with each other, can tell you where you can find all these little things. That's what knowing your battlefield is about. Does it have to be combat tools? No. We could be talking food, we could be talking cash, we could be talking medicine, we could be talking any kind of resource that if someone were to just come to your house and steal it, you'd be in danger. Pigeon networks are extremely useful for people who don't have access to a lot, but have a lot of people with access to a little. Community food pantries are a good example of this, but they're the open, come get this, there's a beacon above it situation. Pigeon networks work by having all of those resources essentially mapped, and one person or a few people keep that information under their discretion. They maintain it, they update it, they're responsible for it. And then when they're pinged, as in someone calls on them for that resource, they seek out where that resource needs to go. This overlaps with the crow network. Crow networks are observant. They find and distribute information. It doesn't really matter who needs to know the information so long as everybody knows the information. For instance, this Saturday in Lynn Park in Birmingham, they're going to be feeding people who don't have food. There's an organization that's gathering up to feed people. That's literally an opportunity. So, as one of the people in said crow network, I simply tell everybody I know about it, and then tell them to tell more people, and then tell more people, and then tell more people. That activates that pigeon network of people who have resources to give and an opportunity to place it. And since everybody knows what's going on, those who need it can show up. Crow networks run in a freelance manner. You can join them freely and you can join as many as you please, as long as you can keep up with the information and be accurate. Pigeon networks are very different. You're responsible for the entirety of a community's resources. Everyone needs to trust you and know you. And because of the way that you're handling the resource itself, you kind of need to narrow your window. If you the plug on getting a hold of some emergency housing, you need to be looking at emergency housing and maybe clothes, but not also food and water and medicine and everything else. But with you having that access to the pigeon network, you can probably point out who does have it. The key is also communicating with the crow network so that they can spread the information of who you are, what you're offering, and what needs to be done to get you to be able to provide it. These networks do not require certain geography. They don't even require close proximity. I can help people I've never met simply by sharing the information through the crow network and providing what I can give through the pigeon network. And above all, the key is integrity and consistency. Always know what you're talking about. Always know what you're giving. Always know what it is you're taking in. And know the people you're representing. If you bring someone a poison pigeon, you might harm a whole community. If you're a This girl is literally trying to fight her way out of a paper bag. If you're a lying crow, you can damage the network. And if you only show up for fair weather, you're not going to know what you're doing, especially when a crisis comes. Keep it in mind that within these networks, every pigeon is also a crow, but not every crow can be a pigeon. And as you join your networks within your area, notice that you're going to have to start creating your own hubs rather than joining them. If your intention is to be a crow, all you need to do is visit the hubs, learn what's going on, and spread information, as well as in your own path, your own trees and wires. But if you're seeking to be a pigeon, you need to get into contact with people who have access to not just the resources, but the ability to maintain and support them. It does people very little good for you to hand them a ham when they're hungry. Yeah, they can take a couple bites out of it, but in a few hours, if they don't have a fridge, that thing's going bad. It'd be much more helpful for you to be able to give them a stack of canned goods and a couple of boxes to put them in. Being able to tap those resources is going to be what your position is. And that requires a lot of trust. Not every crow can be a pigeon. And that's not something to worry yourself about. Now, for the last step of this, the reason I've been using the metaphor of crow and pigeon is because it makes it a lot easier to explain the overlap. If I explain it's birds, you get it. They share the same sky. They fly around and sometimes shit on our cars. A more accurate animal to describe these with is still the crow, but the other one is, a squirrel. From there, do what you need. I can't be more specific than that, or y'all ain't gonna get it. Start building your networks if you haven't already.